Well, hey everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us today for Lead Ministry Live. I got my good friend Ryan Benson. He's from Joy Church. He is a fantastic live streamer, but he's really a good dude. And I have been friends with Ryan. It has been an ongoing friendship. And I just think that he's going to speak into your world and into your life today about how to win through volunteer care. So, Ryan, thank you, man, so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, man. What an honor it is.
Well, it's been a bit, right? We have been talking about this for quite a long time,
Yes,
and
sir. It's been too long.
yeah. So tell me when now. I have to give a quick shout out because your church is a healthy church, and
hmm
my family and I we travel all around the country, and we speak at a lot of churches, and when my then 13-year-old son, maybe it was 14, I can't remember. That is
hmm
13 because he turned 16 yesterday. And he said
That's
to us,
crazy.
right, when he got into the car, he said, "This is a healthy church." Now that's encouraging when your
That's cool.
son has, okay, so you guys are a fantastic church. And one of the shout outs that I want to give is that you have the church version, for context, that you have like the Chuck E. Cheese game room.
Yep.
Tell us about that. That's just so
So
cool.
our pastor, our church has been in the community for about, man, 18 years now.
Hmm, hmm.
And the community, ever since they came and started the church, has talked about building a youth center.
Right.
And he got just tired of hearing the community talk about it. And we are a debt-free church, and so it gives us ability to do things other people can't. And
Yes.
so
So he
he
he heard of a need and he said,
he
"Why
heard the
couldn't?"
need for the community and said, "You know what? We can do this." So he charged me as the children's pastor to build Chuck E. Cheese. He charged the youth pastor to build Dave and Buster's without the alcohol. And
And you don't,
so
and yours is without the pizza.
yeah, the bad pizza. Ugh,
Yeah, yeah.
nasty. And so that's what I did. So the first thing I did was I called Chuck E. Cheese and I said, "Hey, Chuck E. Cheese, what do I do?" And so they pointed me in some great directions. And so we have this amazing outreach center that has a NBA style half court basketball court. We have 32 arcade games. We have a 3-story play area, and it's all for kids and teenagers.
In the 32 games, they're legit, man. I mean, these are legit
Yeah.
like stand-up arcade games. In addition, tell everybody about the coins, cuz when we came, you gave us a little basket or a bucket of
Yep.
coins and all my kids got them and we were just running around playing. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So when we were looking at it, I grew up going to the arcade and you had your quarters and or Chuck E. Cheese, you had the coins. Now you get those crazy cards that don't mean much. But there's
Right.
something about that token. And so when we were looking at it, we all decided that it'd be best to have a custom token because, these tokens on them say our church's vision, they say where they're from, and they say that God loves you as if you're the only person in this world to love. And one of the things I love is when we started the building,
Uh-huh.
we purchased 10,000 coins. At this moment, we have about
Bi-
1,500 left.
so you minted your very own coins.
Yes. Yes.
And
Custom.
I
They're
think
full blown tokens and people love them.
so, here's what and so they have walked with them. And so it's like their
And that
own.
was the goal.
Yeah.
We knew that would happen because I have Chuck E. Cheese coins from almost a 20-year span. I'm missing 1 year.
You're
And
kidding me. That's so
it's,
fun.
yeah.
So, in other words, it was a token of goodwill and a token
hmm
of remembrance. Okay, so here's one thing that I want to say that really fits with my personal ethic and my personal vision.
hmm
What you're doing and what your church does, you seek to do things in a spirit of excellence
Yes.
at every turn, and that is very
Yeah.
intentional, and that's something that I am very intentional about as well. So
Yep.
that's super cool. And even minting your own coins. I mean, you could have had every single game just be on all the time and you just go up and push,
hmm
but you chose to have it be an experience, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we even wear these wristbands. I got a wristband on, and
Sure.
on the wristband, every single one of our leadership, whether they're paid or volunteer, wears this wristband, and it says excellence and encouragement. So it's not just excellence, because excellence can get tough. You
Yes.
can get way too strong in that, but it's also the encouragement side and helping people understand the benefit of the excellence. It's not just the excellence, it's helping people understand the why behind the what.
And where that leads, right? Man, super impressed. And I mean, I'm telling you, I was very, very, very impressed with your church. So
Well, that's
today
awesome.
we're talking about winning through volunteer care. Notice that I
Yep.
put at the bottom there, providing a world class volunteer care experience. And so that's what you just spoke. Your wristband, it speaks to that, right?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah, that's our whole goal.
that is absolutely amazing. So on the our times together, I usually seek to have an opportunity to have three kind of main, what do you say, but big buckets, right? So I want
Mhm.
you, if you could, to help us define it. Then I want you to help us develop it, and then I want you to give us a shout out because you're a leader that people should follow, and I want you to help us come up with some strategies to do it. So let's start with what is volunteer care from the mind and the heart, maybe of Joy Church, but also of your church, or excuse me,
Yeah.
of your heart.
So, like, volunteer care is creating an environment where people want to serve, not that they have to serve. One of the things we say at our church is it's not a shift, it's a ministry. And so
Speak
each and
about that.
every
What does that
time,
mean? It's not. Oh, it's not like a volunteer shift or like,
yeah,
hey,
it's
this
not just
is.
a volunteer shift where you have to serve. It's, hey, I don't care if you're serving in infants, I don't care if you're sitting in our live stream room. You are ministering on behalf of Joy Church. You have a position, you have a reason, you have an involvement, and it empowers them to serve. We're not the common church. We pre-COVID, we were about 2,500. We're
Yep,
back up to, listen to this, 1,300 this past weekend.
that's a big
Praise
deal.
God.
That is a big
It's
deal.
huge. It's huge. And the thing is in all that, the normal church our size has about 50 staff members. We have
Yes.
8.
Okay. Now this is
S
amazing to me. So you just defined volunteer care as making it not a shift, but something that
Yep.
they hunger to be a part of. So in your
Yeah.
mind, caring for volunteers is giving them authority,
Mhm.
responsibility, ownership.
Mhm.
So that is a
Yep.
piece to volunteer care. So now I want you to kind of turn the corner for us, and you've already started it. So how do you do volunteer care? Now, what blows
Yeah.
my mind, and I want everybody to make sure that they hear this next part. You're a church of 2,500, and I was at a church of an identical size, and we had a lot of staff people. And I looked at your website today,
Mhm.
and here it is actually. The interesting thing is that your church has, if I could go right here to staff. Where are you guys? There you go. Meet the staff. You have 8 staff people. Here they are.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
it. As opposed
And
to,
then, you're now on our volunteer staff. You once you get down, that's me, paid staff, paid staff. Once you get past Pastor Jane, oh, no, Chad's paid staff. The rest of that down there, the last 3 couples, those are volunteer staff. They're
so
not paid a bit. They
so the
100% volunteer.
the interesting thing is that your church is is doing what I think every church should do. The role of a pastor is to build up the body to do the work of the ministry. And you guys
Exactly.
don't have, okay, there's 2 philosophies, right? You can buy them
Mhm.
or you can build them. And you guys have made a
Exactly.
very strategic initiative to build people. And it's better for the
Yep.
body. It's better for the church. Man,
Yeah.
I'm more impressed now.
Well, you got people that attend your church, and they have gifts and talents. Like,
Yes.
I'll talk about one of our office ladies. All of our office staff, our administrative staff in the office is 100% volunteer. One of them is a retired Navy commander.
I met
She
her.
used to command, like, 3,000 naval officers,
So she's
and
kind of
she's
she's
found her place at our church to oversee different things. And it just amazes me. You're empowering them to use their gifts and talents to serve the Lord.
So that's a key piece. How do you do volunteer care? Empowerment. That's one thing that you
Yep.
guys do.
Yep.
That's just crazy. Like I I literally am kind of dumbfounded that you have a church of 2,500 people and you have 8 paid staff, which you said earlier your church is a debt-free church. Well, in
Yes.
some ways this is partly why you don't have an
Yes.
ever ballooning, ever mushrooming staff
Yeah.
budget because your people are that bought in. So
Exactly.
so then if you don't have that monetary lever that you're pulling, there has to be a lot of other levers or a lot of other inputs or buckets that you're putting
Yep.
investment in.
And so one of the things we do at our church is, as a leader, sometimes you can go around trying to find people doing something wrong. That's not what we do. We go around trying to find people doing something right. And we find those things where their gifts and talents are. Like me as the children's pastor, when I bring on a new team member, I tell them, this is where you think you want to go. But if you get into this role, I don't want you thinking just because you don't like this role,
But
you're
that's it
not
for you.
called to children's ministry.
Right.
Because we have lots of other places that you can serve. Like I have people that don't like children that serve in children's ministry
I love this.
because they can serve my check-in desk. They love
Right.
adults. They're perfect for communicating and talking with people, but they
So
don't want to be stuck in a classroom.
so this is looking to the bucket of giftedness. What are you
Yes.
actually gifted in? And instead of putting them into a shift or into a slot and saying,
Yep.
"Hey, I'll see you in a year." What?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so
And I know a lot of children's ministries too have that commitment for a year. We don't do that. They sign up to serve. They let
period.
us know
Oh,
how things
wow.
are going. And the whole goal in our children's ministry, and this is one of the things I encourage them with, is do life with each other.
Yes.
Hang out, have them over. You don't have to ask by permission to invite people over to your house. We try to find the people that are going to meld well with each other, and those are the people we put in the classroom together
So what you're
because
saying at this point is part of your volunteer care, part of your love with volunteers is
Mhm.
relationships.
It is. It is. We're there when someone dies in their family. We're there when someone's born in their family. We're
Right.
there when kids graduate. We're there when all kinds of, during COVID, whose team did our church pull on to help things happen? The children's ministry.
Right.
Why? Because my people are faithful. And they're like, I can't serve in kids' classes. What can I do?
Okay.
And so
So
I got guys that are now learning other areas of the church.
right? So every other listener out there, they're like, what is going on? How do you get this? How does this even happen? Uh,
Yeah.
and it's so your people are hungry to be participants, not fill
Yep.
a slot or fill a role. I think that's
Yeah.
just outstanding. So
Yeah.
what else do you
They're they're
guys do?
they're they're there to be a part. We find ways to encourage. So, like children's ministry, I pick a couple volunteers a week. I write them a handwritten note
Hmm.
to let them know, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. Just want you to know." This COVID time, I've had 77 volunteers not return,
Tell us more about that.
but I have 130 volunteers active.
Now,
And we
what?
are doing
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it really is, and the fun part has been is calling the volunteers that haven't returned, checking in on them, and then be like, "Well, I'm not ready to." I don't want you to serve. I just want you to know we love you. I just want you to know we care about you. Wanted to check in, see how you're walking through this pandemic. What's going on in your world? What's happening? And it's been so fun to watch because with the pandemic, everybody's had to do children's ministry differently.
They sure have.
And as we've returned as a church, we've had to do things that people their personal beliefs would not do.
Tell me more
But
about that.
because so I can give you one example. I have a gentleman that is very spoken about his political beliefs.
Fair.
And so the face masks was a very big deal for him. And when we returned as children's ministry, That was how I got kids in the building, was to wear a face mask. If that meant I got to get a kid in front of me and talk to him about Jesus, I'll wear 5 face masks.
Betcha.
It doesn't matter to me. And it was a struggle for this one person, but I knew if I could get him to serve once, I'd get
Yes.
him to serve back. And so
Yes.
we were able to get him on one of the schedules, and he came up to me afterwards and he was like, "This is the only place that I will wear a mask." He goes, "If it allows me to do what I just got to do."
So the culture of your church, so his own personal belief system said that I am really not a fan of the masks. That's
Yep,
fine. But he set aside Philippians 2, his own agenda for the sake
exactly,
of the mission. And that is
exactly.
because of the leaders, and that's because of you. I'm telling you, man, as you know, as you rightly know, but I mean, I'm all over the country and talking to lots of people.
Yeah,
That is uncommon. This is actually splitting and dividing the church. And I'm so,
yeah,
again, once
sure
again,
is.
Joy Church. I'm so proud of you. And
Well,
so,
and we've this whole time, we've found ways to encourage people where they're at. You know, when we first returned, it was, "If you feel comfortable coming back, we
yes.
want you to come back. If you're not comfortable with that, you stay home and live stream." Well, once our state got past the curve, like,
Yes.
statewide, I think we had 20 cases yesterday. So, you know, we're past the curve. We're doing really well where we live. And once we got past it, then it was, unless you have a medical reason to stay home, to where this is something that's gonna, you need to get back in here. Don't let this habit of staying home be what forms for life. It's now time
It's,
for you to
yeah,
transition back.
it's spiritual inertia, right? Bodies at rest
Yeah,
tend to stay at rest. Bodies
yeah,
in motion tend to stay in
exactly.
motion. Well, somebody just added a comment, and I just want to talk to you because somebody out there is sharing, and I want to make sure that we focus on the last part. She says this,
Yeah,
uh, uh, building relationships. People say that other people are busy and they don't need me adding things to their busy schedules. And I have to say, I think that I've heard that myself, Ryan. Like back in the day,
mhm,
I had people as I was seeking to do social gatherings like you do. I was
mhm,
seeking to gather people in a home. We played barefoot kickball. We played games
yep,
together. We did life together. And I had
yeah,
some other leaders as I was contemplating another elaborate layer to this. I had some leaders say, "Hey, man, nobody wants to kiss off their weekend to come do a church thing." And I said, "You're missing the point. This is not a church thing.
exactly.
This is a life thing,
Yeah,
and that's what you're
yeah,
doing."
so that's what we call it, is doing life with each other.
Right?
I like them. They're people I connect with. And
Yes.
so if I just wanna have them over to my house and barbecue, or if I wanna go out to eat after church with them, that's doing life. It may not be a structured, "Hey, children's ministry, we're gonna do A, B, and C."
Right.
It's, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday after service? How about we go out to eat?" Or, "Hey, Sunday evening," like, we have a group of our volunteers that get together almost every single Sunday and play Nerds. And if you've
They
never
play
played
what?
Nerds, it's called Nerds. I hate it, but my wife and the other volunteers absolutely love this game. And so it's something that they get together, and you know what? Once you see these people get plugged into those kind of social things where
Yes.
they're doing life, they're the most loyal volunteers you'll ever have, because they have that connection.
Okay, you're absolutely right. And Sarah just says connection is so crucial.
Boom.
Couldn't agree more. Now, here's the other
Totally
thing.
agree.
The other interesting thing is that is that is that once people see the level of connectivity and genuine love, they're going to be drawn to be a part of something.
Yes, sir. That's actually one of the things we try to create, is the most fun serving environment in the church.
Yes.
I believe my volunteers have the most fun out of any team in the church, and we model that. And you know what happens? Last Wednesday, I had a an adult come up to me. "Hey, you know what? I'd really like to serve at your registration desk." I've never talked to her about serving,
Wow.
not once. And her daughter's actually
She
graduating out of our kids ministry
so
this year.
so she like okay, so she approached you because she saw
Yes.
something happening and she's like, "Could I contribute there?"
Exactly. She sees how much fun the team has. Like during service, our registration team stays there. There's times where we have dodgeball in the hallway with the team during
Like
service
adults.
just to kind of, oh yeah, we're throwing dodgeballs across the hallway. I'll bust out a Nerf gun and start shooting Nerf guns at them.
Yes.
And it's just creating that fun environment where people want to be there.
And just like Victor says, when you build relationships with your team, the longer they'll stay with you. And it's not about even
And he
staying
knows. He knows Victor's a good kids pastor. He's
right.
a good kids pastor.
And so it's just so exciting, and I'm just so happy for what you're doing. And I have to tell you, I personally observed you and your
Mhm.
church in action. And this is not fairy tales and unicorns. This is what actually happens at your church. And
Yeah.
uh, I'm just, oh, look at this. You got to see this, right? I just want to come and work for you, Ryan,
And you can
please.
come volunteer.
Right?
You can come volunteer. That's where we're at. You know,
So
it's
the interesting thing, notice what she's saying. She's saying, I
yeah.
want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Just like your volunteers are,
Yes.
that's what we want. We want other people to go, oh my word, can I be a part of something with my one and only life? I want my life to
Exactly.
be exciting.
Yeah. I want to make it count.
Yes,
What can I do to make this count? How do I do this?
absolutely. And of course, your dear wife, she's a part of
She's
the
awesome.
ministry too, isn't she?
Yep. Oh yeah, she's a vital part. She it's if you're married and you're able to, I highly recommend you doing it as a team
And
because
Sarah and
it
I do
just
that as
changes
well.
things.
It changes
Yeah, and
things.
you guys are so effective
Yes.
because of that relationship. It adds to, it doesn't take away.
That's exactly right. And Sarah and I have, just like you guys, this is a collective calling, right? This is
Mhm.
our together
Definitely.
calling, and I think it's just wonderful, man. And there is so much that is happening right at your church. Give us another one. I mean, like this is outstanding. What else do you
Well,
do? Because there's so
as an
many of these
example,
things, so many of these things you just do naturally.
yeah. Yeah. And when you build those relationships, let me give an example of when you build relationships with your team, what happens. I have one of our volunteers, she's one of our lead volunteers on the younger side of things. And Easter came around and we're just talking in the office. She also serves in our office. And Easter came around and we were talking about hiding Easter baskets for your kid. And I told her how when I was like 20, my mom tried to not hide an Easter basket for me. And I got mad at her. You know what happened? About a week later, I get a text message from her while she's at the office. I hid an Easter bag for you or Easter basket for you in the kids ministry. Good luck finding
Find
it.
it. Yeah, find it.
And
So
about
she's
that.
having interplay with you.
Yes,
She
she's
knows you.
bought in.
She's
And
bought
so
in.
then we have 3 meetings a year, and then I do Facebook Lives. I try to do them every week, just a quick video for the team to let them know different things that are going on. But we do 3 meetings. During that meeting, we pick one of our, infant through kindergarten team members,
Mhm.
and we pick one of our 1st through 6th grade team members, and we give them a $25 gift card,
Right?
and we encourage them off of things that we've seen. Now,
So
we're
you're
picking other people
celebrating.
throughout every single one of these meetings and encouraging them for things they've done,
Yeah.
but we find one in particular that's gone above and beyond and say, here's a $25 gift card.
So
Why? Just
it
because we
is
love you.
it is it is celebrating the things that you hope would be repeated,
Exactly.
as
Exactly.
opposed to pedantically talking down and saying don't do this. You're
Right.
overemphasizing things that they should do. And
Yep.
the interesting thing, like I'll never forget, right, that silly book that came out, everything that I learned or everything that I do, I learned in kindergarten, right? And and the funny thing is that, like, it's like, hey everybody, look at Bobby, he's sitting the right way, right?
Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
adult version of calling out
It
the
really
good.
is.
It's common.
And your team wants to know the celebrations too.
Yes, they
They
do.
want to know how many kids have asked Jesus to be their Lord.
That's
They
right.
want to know how many kids you're having in children's ministry. They want to know these things because that helps them understand the why
Of their
behind their what.
That's exactly right. And so
Yep.
it's continuing to reemphasize a sense of purpose. This is
Yep.
why we're doing this.
Yep.
And Ryan, I think that so many leaders, especially children's ministry leaders, we sometimes can view whether an opportunity that we had to serve together and serve the Lord, we view that as a win if all of the gears of ministry went together seamlessly. And it's so much bigger than that.
Yeah. It's huge. It's the biggest win is that your team is excited about what happened.
That's
Now there's going to be
exactly
times
right.
anybody who works in children's ministry knows there's going to be times where a kid walks in and you're like, "Oh boy, this is going to be one of those days." But there's also times where I had one of my team members and he's older than I am and he was feeling as if he was too old to serve in children's ministry. And he serves a very vital role in my ministry. He serves what we call an inside tracker. And they're the ones that actually, when a kid raises their hand, asks Jesus to be their Lord, I actually have them go talk to our inside tracker to make sure that decision's real. So
For
when I
sure.
talk to that parent and tell them that's a real deal, I can confidently say that. Well, he was thinking, he needed to step down. I told him, well, I want you to pray about it because I knew in my heart it wasn't supposed to happen.
Sure.
And he had an opportunity shortly after that to lead a kid to the Lord. And he came to me, and it's going to make me get emotional right now because
Sure.
he came to me, this grown man, this former army man, he's a grad of West Point,
Yes.
came to me, tears running down his face, saying, "I'm not supposed to be an usher. I'm supposed to be right here."
How about that?
So it's given them that opportunity
To
to
see
find out who
that
they are in God.
the seed of
Yeah.
their very own life is actually bearing fruit.
Yep.
And the
Yep.
funny thing
Exactly.
is that not what we as leaders need to do? Because we may sit at a particular vantage point that this person doesn't understand how their contribution added to the whole.
Exactly.
And that's our
Exactly.
job.
And we got
That's our
given
job.
that opportunity to see that. So true.
Absolutely. Man, Ryan, there's so many good things. Well, listen, we have been talking first about what is volunteer care, and it is very many
Yep.
things. But you've given us some great examples of how to do volunteer care. But if you could
Mhm.
help us kind of land the plane, what is one thing that you think? Of course, there's like it's this is the 100 things that we ought to do,
Yeah.
and I really do believe that you do all of those. But if you're a leader, right?
Yeah.
And people really truly need to follow you because you're an exceptional leader. What would you say to
No,
somebody
praise God.
today if they were like, "Hey, what should I do?" I mean, give somebody a charge, right?
What the easiest thing is do next time you're serving, or even as you're thinking about it today, encourage someone for doing something right.
Right.
Find that one person that's done something right. Like just a little while ago, we did a funeral for one of our team members. Her mom passed away during COVID, and they
Right.
had to delay the funeral and all this. And there's one team member that every single time there is a death in a family, I can guarantee when I walk into that funeral home, she's going to be there.
Wow.
So what did I do? Our next team huddle, I brought that up to the whole team to
Yes.
explain how much it blessed me. And I'm not even the family that lost the loved one. I'm the kids pastor, the leader over the team, the leader over my family.
Yes.
And I see one of my family members there every single time I walk in. So find them doing something right and encourage them. Just let them know you appreciate them. Send them a text letting them know, hey, you know what? I just want you to know I really appreciate you and all you've been doing.
I
And then
think that that's
empower them to
huge.
do what
More
they
of
can do.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, Ryan, I'm telling you, I got goosebumps. You're one of my favorites. You're one of my
Oh, come on
favorites,
now.
and you're truly an unsung national hero because of how your church operates. You really are. And
I got
by
a
the
good
way,
pastor.
and I wanted that's where I was just heading, is that you actually have an extraordinarily healthy church. That this is
Yeah,
so he is observing good things. You're observing him.
yeah,
This is culture wide at your church.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's
we're an uncommon church. All of our staff, we've all known each other for, well, the newest one I haven't known for as long as others, but, like, I've known our pastor as long as I've been married.
right.
Our executive pastors worked with our pastor for over 30 years, and, he knew our pastor before our pastor was married.
Yes,
And so there's relationship that helps that trust. I and the pastor's a career firefighter, and in the fire station, there's a camaraderie that is unmatched,
for sure.
and this is the first staff I've ever been a part of as in a ministry that I feel that camaraderie
So
because we
it matched that or
it's
surpassed
even
it.
better. It's better. It really
Um,
is. I really look at the guys I work with as my true brothers.
the
So,
the funny thing I have to tell you, beautiful, 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 and it is a palpable sense when I'm at your church.
well, praise
I've been to
God.
your church, and it did. This
Yes,
is
and we have
not a.
fun.
Oh man, did we have fun? We had fun. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation. But I thank you, Ryan, very
Well,
much.
thank you.
You've done the community a service. I hope and I pray that hundreds and hundreds of people will listen to this, and
Mhm.
they'll take your lead. And what they're getting, in a sense, is just the tip of the iceberg, because these things are so legitimate and so real and so lived out on a consistent basis in your life. It's
Well,
fantastic.
that's awesome.
Well, thank you again for joining us. I would want right now, however, just briefly, we didn't take we went long because it was so good, but I want to have you share, in a sense, you're a unique guy, and I have this unique, amazing chemistry show, but you
Mhm,
have something else that's kind of unique. Okay, I'm gonna
mhm.
shift the screen a little bit here, and tell us a little bit about your unique thing.
Well, I live in a bubble. I'm a pastor, and so my bubble's a very Christian bubble, so I like to have an ability to reach outside of my bubble and talk to people that are not in my world, and, a little over a year ago, I had some kids in my kids ministry talking to me about these live streamers they would watch. And I'm like, "What is a live streamer?" Had no clue. And so I started looking at these guys that they were bringing up, and these guys are talking about drinking, smoking, things they were doing with people they shouldn't be doing.
Sure.
And I'm like, "Oh gosh, my kids are watching this." So I started researching, what does it mean to live stream? Well, I became a live streamer, and so what I do is I stream on a platform called Twitch, and, I live stream playing video games and have a community come in. We talk about Jesus, we play Fortnite. I don't dance the Fortnite dances,
But
but
do
we
you on
have a lot
screen?
of fun.
Do you dance on screen? Do you do
Oh, yeah,
some
the
emotes?
character does. Oh, definitely. Definitely, but not me. Nobody.
Well, what I
Because
want to
people like
say,
Victor would turn that into a TikTok.
right? Well, what I want to say is I'm proud of you,
Well,
and
thank you. It's a privilege.
and
It
your
really is. It's a lot of fun.
it is fun, and you've built a studio.
Mhm,
You're exceptionally good at the games. You have a following, and
mhm.
you're tying what you do to Christianity and to the faith and to Jesus, and that you're different. I'm a different person. And I think it's just brilliant, man.
It's so fun because it's a place where people can come and not have to be on edge.
And
You're not gonna
filter.
hear anything that's off color.
Yeah, yeah,
I have Muslims that come into my stream.
yeah.
I have confessed atheists that come into my stream, and yet they still come.
And they stay.
They still are there. Yeah, it's amazing. It
And
really
so,
is.
my encouragement to anybody else who is listening, they're like, but Lord, what do I have? What could I do? And you came
Mhm.
with a couple of random loaves and fish, and you were like, well,
Yep.
Lord, there seems to be a need, and this is not cool that my kids are listening to this bizarro random stuff, and I don't want them to listen to that. Maybe I could
Yep.
fill a gap. And now you have, you know, a lot of people watching what you do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm
We
super,
stream 3 times a week. We stream Mondays at 7 PM. We stream Thursdays at 9 AM, except for today because 'cause we're doing this, and then Saturdays at 9 AM. And it's all Central Standard Time. It's on Twitch. It's
yes,
free. You don't have to pay anything, but if you have kids in your kids' ministry that like to watch people play video games, send them my way.
yes,
It's safe. Your parents will thank you
yes.
because the kid is gonna get encouragement. I'm also connected with a ton of other children's pastors. You'd be surprised how many pastors stream video games. It's awesome.
And you're doing it well, right?
Well,
You're doing
praise
it
God.
well.
We have
And
fun.
you bet
We're
you
not
do.
doing it cheap.
And you're not doing it cheap. You've
Mhm,
invested in a studio, you've invested in a mic, so these are the
mhm.
things that help you to lead with excellence. And so right there it is on the screen. They can follow you there. We'll put it in the
Yep.
chat afterward. So thankful. You are somebody that is worthy of knowing. You're somebody who's worthy of following. And I have to say before we close, one of my favorite things, we did a humongous outreach at your church through the Amazing Kid
Yeah.
Ministry Show. And
Yeah, we did.
I have to say, in preparation, I was like, I think I'm going to mix up double the chemicals just in case. And one of my favorite things is there was a line outside of your church that
It was
was
like Black
it
Friday.
was like
It
Black
was or a
Friday.
gas station today. It
Yeah,
was ridiculous.
and
I could not believe it when we looked out and there was just a crowd of people outside of that building.
waiting to come in. And
Yes.
then both of us were like, you were like, this is so awesome. And then something interesting
Yeah.
happened. They filled up the church fast, and your eyes
Yes.
were like, whoa. And so
Yeah.
I said, hey man, let's bring everybody in and do an additional show. And
Yep.
we filled up the auditorium 2 times over.
Yep. And we saw 100 people ask Jesus to be their Lord.
Boom.
So that's the most important, man.
Man,
And the
so
school
grateful.
system, we got a huge open door
Yes.
because of how professional you do what you do
Thank you.
and how we didn't cross any lines
We were very
forcing
intentional.
Jesus down their throat in the
Yep.
school. It was all a STEM program, and they can't wait to get to a point. If this crazy COVID didn't happen, we would have already had 2 shows in.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. We actually, the very week that the entire nation locked down, I was due
mhm.
to be at your church to go into 8 or 9 different schools and do it a
Yep,
second time. And so
yep.
we'll trust the Lord in its time. Ryan,
Yes, definitely.
you're a great guy. You're a worthy guy. Everybody in the country, and I mean this without hesitation, they should learn how to care for volunteers the way that your church cares for volunteers.
Well, that's awesome. We
Well,
just do
thank
what we
you.
do, man.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, gang, this has been another episode of Lead Ministry Live, and we are so, so, so grateful that you're here. And I want you to follow Ryan Benson. He's one of the best. Thank you guys so much for watching.